Call this place to order.
Call order, roll call.
Tracy Bonkowski.
Here.
Lucy Dilbert.
Here.
Rob Pennell.
Here.
Genevieve Brodzik.
Here.
Craig Sims.
Here.
Steve Vitalik.
Here.
And Rachel Vincent. Here.
Okay, public hearings, we have none. Approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Public comments on agenda items. No public. Approval of the minutes for February 4th, 2020.
Motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Communication correspondence workshop. Anybody have any communications? Okay. Matters for consideration, old business, master plan, general discussion, and we need to set a date tonight for the public outreach and decide how we're going to, what method we're going to do that. So we'll start, let's do the public outreach first, and then we can go to like the master plan stuff. So we had those two options for the outreach. Either the one option was where planning, representation, and whomever would come to the hall, and it would be open all day, and people would just walk in as they please from, what, 2 till 6, or 4 till, or 2 till 5?
Yeah, whatever time frame you guys would prefer. We can even do it earlier and go later. It's really up to you guys. We can do it 2 to 6, we can do it 2 to 5, we do noon to something, whatever you guys want to do for set a time frame. Usually it's like a 4-hour block or so, 3 to 4 hours. And the idea behind a open house is you have a more informal type of setting, so people can have one-on-one conversations. You can ask them about what they feel about certain aspects of the community in terms of like, do you like the new gateway? Do you like the new sign, the new park, the new trail? We're thinking about doing these things next. What do you think? It's a little more of a dialogue type of thing. You can have a better conversation in a situation. And then we also have, I think, more honest feedback too, because I think when you have more formal settings sometimes on the podium, people will get a little bit apprehensive about what they're going to say, and they be quiet in that type of situation. The other option is, as we know, like a workshop or a forum, like a traditional public hearing. That's a good option too. That is something that's you probably did in the last master plan, where you have more of a formal presentation about what's going to be updated in the new master plan. If there's a specific ask or something that we're going to be asking the public, or if there's a new aspect to the master plan that wasn't there before that we're trying to present and get feedback on, or we're trying to get feedback to try to tailor the plan in a certain direction, that's a good forum for that type of conversation. So those are really our two options there. There are other things out there, but those are the two more common things to have for this.
Do you guys ever do like online surveys, set them up for your communities?
We do SurveyMonkey. We've done that in the past too, and that's something that can be easily set up and we can put on the city's website.
Yeah.
If that's something on the village's website, if we wanted to pursue that too, in addition. And then we just have the stats and everything else in the appendix of the master plan to show that we did this survey and these are the responses and this was the feedback.
Okay. So, thoughts, anyone?
I kind of like the survey idea.
Online?
Yeah, because I feel like nobody comes.
Well, New Haven is very Facebooky.
Yes. We are very online presence. Well,
Sure.
some are.
But they'll have the option to come here if they're not. So.
Yeah, like
we
in
would do
addition
both.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, with the survey too, is like we'll do SurveyMonkey, but the other thing that we do is with the online, there's also a paper version that we do. Usually with the library, the city hall, whatever municipal centers that you guys have here, we can always put those there. And then once they're filled out, we'll come maybe once a week and once every 2 weeks to pick up whatever's been completed. We'll tabulate those as well. So there's a paper version as well as a digital version, so we can reach all audiences. Yeah.
Okay, so Rachel, anything else? Rob, have a preference on at the meeting or just at the hall during the day? Indifferent?
Pretty indifferent.
Good with online?
I think Out of the 3 options, that's really the best.
Okay.
I think we're
Most
gonna get the
effective.
most responses.
Yeah. I feel we should do online and one or the other.
Oh, yeah.
Of the other two.
I don't think anyone's really gonna come here. to-
No, it's, with the online though, there's probably more of a longer window time and they can kind of do it.
At their leisure.
Yeah, I mean,
It'll be honest.
You'll be anonymous.
well, that too.
What did you say, sir?
It'll be anonymous. too.
Yeah. Yeah. Trace?
I would say just the open house, getting the survey.
Yeah. Yeah, because we have to do, we don't really have to, right? But
I think you give someone else
An
an
option.
online, a not online.
right,
option.
I'm good with that too. An open house and then the online survey. What are we going to include in the survey?
The survey, that's something we can look at some different examples that we've done in the past. Traditionally, there's a general demographic aspect of it where please tell us about yourself before you do the survey. And after that, you'll be asking, depends on what we're trying to get information on. If we're trying to tailor it towards more of our like non-motorized stuff, like, hey, do you guys use the new trails? Do you wish we had better connections to certain, whatever it is, or like, do you think there's any, is this crossing dangerous, or do you feel comfortable crossing this road, and you go and use this? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's different things that you can
Right.
target the actual survey on. It all depends on what we're trying to get information on.
Okay.
And that's something that we can discuss further. I can put something together and pass it around, and then you guys can kind of critique it and tailor it based on what you think.
Can you send that out and then we can sort of just give feedback and then that way we're prepared to just go forward with it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, for sure. I can probably put something together. What's today? Today's Tuesday, so I can say probably by the end of the week we can have a rough survey put together.
Okay.
I can have it circulated to you guys, and then just let me know what you guys think about it.
Okay.
And then if you guys do any research on community surveys or anything like that and see a question that you particularly like that you may want, feel free to send it my way too. I can include that.
Okay.
And then we can get feedback from all the commissioners.
Okay, is everybody good with the open house concept during the day?
Yeah.
Are you free on,
I think it needs to fall a little bit into the evening hours too.
well, I'm thinking what we could do for your convenience is like before our meeting,
Yeah.
next month. And that way you just
Roll right into
You
it.
just hang out here all day?
Yeah, it's really up to you guys.
Is that okay with you though?
I can accommodate whatever you guys want with enough notice. So.
Right.
So if there's a specific day or time you want me to be here, I can make that work. If you want to do it right before this meeting, that would be fine too. And then we'd probably just be set up in the lobby or in this room or wherever the village wants us to be. And then we'll just have a couple of display things and some handouts maybe, and then go from there.
So say April 7th then, what time would be a good time for you to start? 2, 3? I don't wanna,
Probably 2 o'clock would be fine.
2? And then you're good with staying all, or do you want me to put 2 till 6 or 5 so you can go get some food and then?
We can do 2 to 6, that'd be fine. If that's okay with you guys, or if you want to do 2 to 5, doesn't matter to me, either way.
Yeah.
Gives you a dinner break before the meeting?
Yeah, either way, but I eat quickly, so. Yeah,
Can you bring paper copies of the survey? Just like Lucy said, not everybody's digital, so if they do come, they can fill out that survey.
Sure.
Excellent.
Or maybe even have a laptop set up for them, they can do it.
Yeah, I can do that. I can bring this with me, and they can fill out the survey there. And then I'll have paper copies, and I'll just tell them to return it to the city hall, the village hall.
Maybe we could print out some and put them at the senior center, paper copies.
Mhm.
With, I don't know what the attendance is over there anymore, but no. 5 people.
I don't know, maybe 8.
I met a gentleman that goes he was just hilarious. He's has a big old walker, pretty good sized guy lives over in Meadow Creek. He was just hilarious. Can't think of his name though.
So we'll put some paper copies at the library, schools, village hall, anywhere else people can think of.
Library, school, village hall, no?
Oh, senior center. Right.
What about the, well, not necessarily paper copies, but do a little flyer and maybe get the kids from the schools to answer the survey, get their input on the community?
Yeah, that's good.
And then you'd have demographics, so we'd know age-wise where they're, who's participating in it, and their age and their,
How low down do you want to go with school? High school, middle school?
I would think high school.
I would think high school.
Yeah.
I don't know, I think you could even do middle school, make them feel part of the community. We can differentiate their results anyways, right?
Yeah, because we'll
And the demographics.
make sure we have their age on there.
Yeah, we usually do it in cohorts, some
Percentage
ranges.
implemented in the classroom.
Yeah, that would be good for.
But the only problem with that is not everyone lives in the village.
Oh, that's true. That is true. Or maybe we just put a little note on it, you know, we encourage your kids to participate too, or something.
I guess you could put what community you actually live in,
Yeah,
because if we're getting results from people that are actually, you know, interacting within the community from people that necessarily don't live in the community, it's still helpful to see what they want.
Or what if we added something on that Survey Monkey, like a, you know, middle school or high school kid that lives in the house with the parents, he could fill out, you know, parents fill out their part and have a kids section all in one.
Yeah.
It's kind of like two birds with one stone at that point. You know, kids in the house who want to fill it out, you know.
But they probably not get done together, would they?
I don't know.
I think if we just ask where they live and how old they are, that probably pretty much covers it.
I mean, if you really think about it, if somebody just sees the survey online, how do you know they live in New Haven anyways?
Right.
Well, yeah, that's why if you
I
put
mean,
a,
all these community pages, that not everybody that's on these pages lives in New Haven.
Right.
we have a drop down for the community.
yeah, we can do a drop down for the community.
Yeah, because then you can filter out, I mean, people who don't live in the village or within, you know.
Yeah.
But if people are utilizing the school, I mean, they live in Lennox, but they're,
Well, that would be another question too. Do you attend the schools? That'd be another, yeah. Okay.
I mean, there's not like there's a whole lot per se in Lennox that, you know,
Yeah,
the village is still a draw to the township.
once we see what John did with the surveys, we kind of maybe
Bless you.
tailor it a little bit towards how we want it to say.
Could it be posted by next Tuesday?
Automatic 3 in a row.
Yeah.
Next Tuesday might be a little bit tight if we're doing
So I was thinking
feedback on
if we
that.
could get something at the Lennox Township building, because the primary's on Tuesday as well. You can get
No,
like-
can't put anything in
Can't
there
get-
on
you
Tuesday.
can get- No, just a flyer or something like that.
No. No, not an election. Just got a big lecture about that today.
It's not campaigning for anything, so it shouldn't be a problem.
They won't even let the census in. No.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yes, nothing, nothing.
Yeah, you can't even get at the freebie handouts. They moved that rack.
Yeah.
The election is going on.
What do you mean freebie handouts?
You know, like
Pamphlets.
pamphlets and maps and
Um,
the Lucido rack.
How much
Oh,
would,
no.
That goes somewhere.
On the survey, like what you would find, I mean, how much, there's probably not much we have to add or subtract to the survey that you have, you
A
know?
lot of it's like a pretty typical kind of
Yeah.
layout for them, unless you want like a specific question or something we're trying to get at, then that's where like some of that feedback.
Right. I mean, once we see it, then we, you know,
Yep.
it sounds like it's pretty straightforward. I don't think there would be a whole lot of changes that we would.
I'd like to keep it short, so
Right.
that they don't open it up and go.
Some of
"Alright."
the
That's-
survey on the superintendent was like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
it's
Maybe like top 5 and then demographics, like,
Usually we try and keep it like less than 10 questions.
Yeah.
10 questions or less, because
Yeah,
most
perfect.
people can start losing.
5 to 7.
Sure.
Yeah.
So losing interest a little bit.
and then maybe at the end, just a general, do you have any other,
Topics,
yeah,
Yeah.
that way, didn't cover anything. Okay, anybody have any concerns or issues with this? April 7th, 2 till 6,
Go to this.
here at the hall.
So
Now,
would
are we
we,
supposed to be here?
You don't need to be, no.
would we go over the survey results, but in May then?
You can be, if you'd like to be. I'm not gonna tell you you can't be. Hang out all day? No?
So survey results, it all depends on how long you want to release the survey for. If you want it out for 2 weeks, a month, whatever it is I want to do. And then after that, I can print out the results pretty quickly.
If we can get it up before, maybe just that one, up until the day of the public hearing is probably enough time, if you can get it to us that quickly. And that way you can put it all together once that's done.
And review,
Or not public hearing.
review at the May meeting, the results? Well, actually, you would kind of email them to us and we could probably discuss them.
Yeah, because that's the beauty of the Survey Monkey. I don't know if you guys have ever used it before. I'm sure you guys have taken a survey at some point on it. Is it tabulates all the data for you. So it's pretty much just I log in after the survey closes and I close it out, and it's already put together for me. And then I just print it out. And then that's pretty much what we just get right put in the
Yeah,
appendix.
We've
But-
used it here, I've set a couple up for the village in the past. We do get a pretty good.
The only thing that takes time is if you're truly, like, you get the data, but then it's like, what do you draw from it, is where the time takes, like, where you actually try to infer different things, you're trying to get some type of narrative out of the data that you get, the survey results that you get out of it. That may take a little bit longer to piece together those clues, to put together the bigger picture, but otherwise, the actual data is done the same day that you close the survey.
So does it actually per se, I mean, obviously checking off boxes and such stuff is easy to report, but does it just print out all the comments that people made? So under that particular question, so you see every comment?
Yeah, it'll do that, or we can always like kind of, let's say if there's redundant things, then we can kind of clean those out, or expletives, whatever it is that you made, because you never know what you encounter in these surveys. Then you just kind of clean that type of stuff out, but yeah, we can print out pretty much everything that we get.
I mean, if there's repeats, I just assume hear those because then that gives me the feeling, okay, one person wanted this, but 18
Yeah.
made comments
Really.
about something else that, you know, you add up the numbers and you got,
Yep.
you know, maybe a consensus.
Yeah, or something that's reinforced as a concern. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll do the open house then, unless anybody has any problems, April 7th from 2 till 6. Good?
Good.
Motion for that, to set the open house?
So moved.
Second?
Support?
Was that? I don't know, just in case. Do we need to vote on that? Oh, just, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Then the only other thing would be that we just need to follow the typical public hearing requirements in terms of notice.
Okay.
Nothing else. And then, once that notice is put up there, then I'll just need a copy of the actual notice, so that way I can put it in the appendix for
Okay.
record.
And as far as the survey, you're saying close it on this day? Or we should leave it open?
Leave it open for the week?
Well, because we're not going to actually look at the results until May.
Yeah, we can leave,
Yeah,
leave it
there's-
up, the
there's-
longer the better, I would assume.
Yeah, I mean, there's no harm in leaving it up longer, and then we can give us some extra time on that.
Because if we don't get it published for 2 weeks from now, then it would leave
Right.
less than 2 weeks.
Yeah, because our next
Why?
meeting after April would be May 5th. Yeah,
Okay.
so we can actually have it run through April if we wanted to.
Well, maybe you have it end before that, so you have time to.
Yeah, maybe like the last week of
2 weeks
April.
before the.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's even just like a week before the next planning commission meeting in May,
So-
then that'd be plenty of time.
So maybe run until Monday, April 27th. And then we would meet on Tuesday, May 5th. That'd be basically a week and a day.
Is that enough
Yeah.
time for you? Okay.
So start it from 2 weeks from now until April 20.
Yeah, whenever we get it.
whatever, we can get that kind
Yeah.
of finalized, and then I'll put it out. It doesn't have to be a specific, let's say 30 days, be 31, 34, whatever it is. We can make that work. And then, yeah, we'll go till April 27th.
And then, yeah, if you can, whenever we get that, just send over like a file of it, like a hard copy file. So
For sure.
we can get everything.
Yep.
And we decided
2 till 6, so John can eat from 6 till 7. Good? Okay, moving on to just a general discussion on the master plan and where we're at, and I'll let John go forward with that.
So I've continued to work on the actual update portion of the plan. I got all the latest commissioners, council members, presidents, all that stuff is all updated. All of the actual data itself is updated, but like I said, I'm going to double check the latest census information that's out there on the new census portal, because they just updated their whole website and dumped out a whole bunch of new data. Just to double check that we have the latest and greatest in our demographics section. If we don't, I will update that. I can't imagine much of it will change from 2017 to 2018. But nonetheless, I'm going to make sure that that's the latest information that we have while it's still a draft document. In terms of all the other stuff throughout the rest of the document, I've gone through, made sure all the dates were up to date. The latest data was up there for topography and water features, which hasn't changed much. As I also said, the traffic data is the latest and greatest out of SEMCOG for all the crash incidences as well as pedestrian incidences. So it's all on there. Pretty much the biggest section that we are still kind of working through are the goals and objectives and the implementation matrix, which are the two last kind of pieces, as well as then our public outreach aspect of it too. So what I brought to you guys tonight is the implementation matrix, which is broken down by specific sections like transportation goals, residential areas, community facilities and open space, industrial areas, commercial areas. They all kind of coincide with, there's a downtown area, they all kind of coincide with how the future land use plan is broken down, and the goals and objectives coincide with that as well. The only thing that's different is the implementation matrix shows a responsibility for who's supposed to be working on these things. And then if it is a ongoing matter, long-term, short-term, medium-term, whatever it is, it assigns a time frame to how we're doing these things, or how we're going to approach these things. So if you guys would like to, I think going through these one by one tonight, I don't know if we can get much out of that, but I think I printed these all out here, so that way if you could just go ahead and look at these, either here in this paper document or look at it online and comment on it through the Google Docs portal for the PDF, and just either handwrite notes or do the comments and just say what we've accomplished, what's ongoing, what's realistic in terms of if it's a long-term or short-term goal, and just kind of address those things throughout this document. And then if you guys want to put all those comments together, and then I can collect them, and then I can summarize what that is and update the form as we go through this. So that we have the latest form of what's going on within the community for the implementation matrix.
I'm sorry, are these are pulled out of the master plan as the objectives that are already in there?
Pretty much, yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
it's
just found it.
Yeah, it's cut off though.
Yeah, for some
Yeah.
reason, like, I'm not sure why it was formatted that way, but ideally it should be rotated, or it should be 8.5 by 14 sheet with fold out, because it's a longer document, or a longer table. But when you actually look at it, it does cut it off. If you go to the actual Google Doc thing, which is, I believe, the Word format one, you can download the document, and it should have the full width version of it. But otherwise, you see it cut off, I believe it cuts off the time frame. but the responsibility and the actual objective is still viewable. So that's why I printed it out, just in case people had issues with that.
Question on, if we, I just hope, I had the PDF open, but I opened it under Google Doc, and you can comment. So if you comment on Google Doc, will you see it on your PDF? Okay. Because sometimes on Google Doc, it is a little bit easier to scroll through and have all the data follow each other, so, okay. Just want to double check before I started
Yep.
commenting in areas.
Yeah, if you comment on that thing, then I can definitely see it. If you're concerned about that too, the other option would be if you want to summarize and say your comments, and then you can always like email me a Word document that has all your comments from it too. So it's however you guys want to do it. I can make it work. But so I say either paper version, comments on the Google Doc, or you can send me a summary of what your comments and observations are. And then I can do that. But otherwise, like outside of the implementation matrix as well as the goals and objectives, which are kind of one and the same, I believe the rest of the document's in pretty good shape. And then after that whole process, we do a public hearing. I'll have to go back and kind of work in formatting, making sure that everything actually flows, that the tables are properly labeled and everything else is all set up and formatted. I may give it to our graphics team to kind of spice it up a little bit, make it look a little bit fancier or nicer, and we can put a nice document together for you guys. So.
Is this the one that we want to basically work on and
Yeah, stay focused on this.
report back on the next meeting with this? Okay.
Yep. And then, yeah, report back next meeting if you could with your comments. And then from there, I'll summarize them. And then I'm thinking May, I should be able to have a pretty good draft of this with the latest feedback.
One thing I would like to add to it,
Sure.
and just because like we're here right now, I don't want to be the only person who wants to want to discuss the funds. Everybody is in a corridor improvement plan. We had talked about that with like a TIF and whatnot for Gratiot. It does, anybody have objections to moving forward with that in the near future? As far as,
Awesome.
so a Gratiot improvement plan, anybody opposed to that before I, speak for everybody and ask for it to be put in there?
Not opposed to it, but just kind of glancing at all of this, I'm gonna look at the short term goals first, because I think back in, was there the schools in 2015.
Maybe Windows and Google just aren't.
So, John, in 2015, this document was made, right? And so I'm just going to look at the short-term goals real quick. Not that I object to adding anything to it,
Right,
but I'm kind of questioning, I brought this up at the beginning, what have we accomplished? And I know you said to go through this, and I'm not sure what knowledge we're going to have at the table here of what's been accomplished or not. So, can we remove things?
Can you remove things that you don't? Yeah, I mean, you can do whatever you want. Yeah. So if you want to remove things or add things, like that's completely within you guys' power. Then we just edit the document as we see fit.
right.
So that's definitely a good reflection point, which is why we do the 5-year update. Because it's a good way to kind of look at, like, was this a realistic thing, or is this something that we actually wanted to do, or maybe priorities shifted, or whatever's changed in the last 5 years, you kind of reassess and then update as needed. So that's completely, within you guys' purview.
And I respect what you're saying, because I don't think that a lot has been done. I do want to say, though, that with the corridor improvement, that's something that we at this table could probably get done in a couple months, maybe 3, 4, like, getting that, it would just, it's whether council accepts it, because it does have to go through council for approval for that, and I guess it's we can work on it, it's whether their will is to have it once we present it. Because obviously that we'd be taking those tax dollars off of those properties to improve Gratiot.
Well, I would hope that whatever work was done at this table that was brought forth to council would be well received,
I
within
would,
reason.
I would hope so.
Right.
I mean, I personally think it's a good idea. I don't
If not, then this should
They-
cease to exist.
So,
I mean, let's be honest.
do you think personally, with your perspective on Gratiot, that it would benefit us, or do you think we're not there?
I think the Quarter Improvement Authority would be something that would be beneficial to Gratiot if you're trying to, if you just have specific goals in terms of achieving like a streetscape or a specific facade improvement program, or try to improve pedestrian amenities and walkability. That's more so what the Quarter Improvement Authority is set up to do. It's a tax increment finance type of setup where you do capture taxes. So the Quarter Improvement Authority, what you do is you set a baseline for the property tax. So it's whatever the assessment is for this year, let's say. And then going forward, as assessments go up, the authority would actually capture whatever the difference is between baseline and a new assessment. And then that tax that's retrieved is what the authority would take. And be able to use the program within that boundary. I think it's definitely a beneficial tool to have in your tool belt. In terms of setting it up, we've never, as a county, we've worked on GDA plans, we've worked on TIFA plans. We've never started one from scratch as a county. So that's something where we may want to engage the MEDC's CAT team, community assistant team. The guy who works in our region, his name is Dominic Romano, and he'd be a good resource to kind of tap into to get more information on what the authority actually consists of, what the reporting requirements are, what the transparency requirements are, because the state just passed new legislation for meeting the website that has all your budget details and everything else in there too. We need the treasurer involved as well to kind of pull the data for the properties that are going to be captured within the boundaries. And then the other thing to consider too is the market. So a lot of the TIFs and DDAs that the county has in existence, so Utica, I'm sure Richmond's got one, a lot of our traditional downtowns, Quarter Improvement Authorities, I think Roseville may have one, along their Gratiot section there. A lot of those were set back in the 70s or 90s. So the one thing to just kind of caution is being wary of, I guess you could always reset the baseline, but kind of be wary of what the market is at this point, and then maybe like, and not that you want to bank in a recession, but you also want to have a lower baseline so you have a bigger capture versus if you're already at the height of the market, and then you're not going to necessarily get much of a capture there. But like I said, I believe you could always reset the baseline. But that's a conversation to have with Dominic where he can kind of give us more information on how the baselines work and stuff like that.
And I do have one question I don't know is what are our limitations with it being M19 and how much freedom are we going to have for improvements?
For design
Yeah.
and stuff? That is a great question. So-
Yeah, because I mean, we take this money, but I mean, if we're stuck in loopholes the whole time and we can't do what we want,
Yeah.
then is it, I guess I would want to balance out is the benefit, you know, but I mean, there's always the other option that we help the businesses with grants and whatnot with their appearance, but it might limit us. I think we should know what we can and cannot do.
And that's where like the different forms of this tool, whether it's a DDA or a Quarter Improvement Authority, the funds, I believe, don't quote me on this, they can be used differently based on what type of jurisdiction it is, based on what type of authority it is. So I know in the DDA, and maybe the same way in a Quarter Improvement Authority, you use your funds to support a enforcement officer. If you wanted to help and improve enforcement, you can use the funds to help, let's say, mow the grass and plant flowers within the corridors and stuff like that. Maybe not necessarily on Gratiot, but maybe just off Gratiot, but still within your boundaries. You do stuff like that. I believe you can even use it to purchase properties. Like there's a lot of different things you can potentially do with the money. But it's going to just take better clarification from Dominic and the actual legislation. But it is a useful tool. I would say when you start talking about like hardscape type improvements where you're starting to impact the curb cuts, light poles, stuff like that, then MDOT's going to want to have a say in that because they're going to be worried about their placement, their location, if they break away, stuff like that. I'd imagine they have bigger concerns about. But you'd have some definite limitations on that type of stuff. Lighting levels, however the type of lighting that you guys have, they'd probably want to have a say in that, is my guess.
Right, Mario will take care of all that, right?
But I mean, if we put together a plan that we want Gratiot to be, and then take it to MDOT, then they're gonna give them
Yeah, you'd have to work with
their opinion on it,
MDOT.
and then we'll adjust the plan from there.
Right.
I just
Shoot for the moon.
took a look at Rochester's because it's kind of similar. Main road, Gratiot, main road.
Right.
They do replacement sidewalks, replacement, everything is replacement. Replacement, repair, and construct. And mainly it's sidewalks and fences and plants and so.
But they already have everything, basically, right? You're talking about.
This is completed projects and they have a little site here that says upcoming projects, farmers, town market, infrastructure support, continued replacement of acorn light poles. So, yeah, it would fall into what we would want Gratiot to look like with light poles. And so, pretty interesting thing
Ours would just be all from scratch.
there. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know when they started theirs, 1982. So they've been at it a little while.
So and a lot of times in these plans too, like you're going to have like your own goals and objectives. You're going to have your own type of visioning session and your whole process with that. A lot of times it will reflect what you have or build off of what you have in the master plan. And you just kind of take it a step further into a more deeper dive and specific dive into what you're looking for in specific geography. But yeah, so that's kind of the gist of what I know about it. I know if you look at the MEDC website, they will have a cut sheet, like a one-pager or something like that, on corridor improvement authorities as well as DDAs and everything else. I don't believe you guys will be able to do a DDA, but double
We only
check that.
have one business to really capture from, so, and I don't know them. Yeah.
A lot of times it's
Maybe
gonna have to
two.
be like a traditional downtown, which you guys do have like the bones of it, of where it used to be and everything else. But I think the corridor improvement authority might be the better route of the two. But that's something, like I said, we can try to get
Okay.
a meeting with Dominic and kind of go from there.
Okay, great. Anybody else?
Well, I guess we didn't really answer my question, because I'm like going through this list and I see all these things on here that the planning commission is responsible for. And we don't do any of these things. We don't touch,
Well, that's gonna have to be the difference between passports and our
Well,
plans. We
that-
need to go to
that's-
this list and do it when we're done with it, otherwise we're just a bunch of
that's exactly where I'm going, Rob.
monkeys doing nothing.
So, I mean, I guess I would rather see the list, I would rather see some more obtainable goals that we can do versus this novel.
So are you thinking attack like the short term or attack the ongoing? To get it towards completion? You know what I'm saying? What would be the easier?
I don't know.
I mean, we
that's a
could-
Great question, but.
We could definitely do just a workshop and just go through them one by one and see what, sort of rate them or, everybody maybe in the next month, what's your top 5? Just take a look and see if we have commonality on.
I wonder
where we are.
if the short term on some of these was based on trends for maybe revenue or residents moving in, and now it's achievable.
Well, we can also, anything that's on there, we can also push those that are supposed to be more responsible for it into doing it by knocking off a letter and saying, hey, you know, these are one of the goals here that we're looking at. Can you please, since it's in your domain, put it on your list? Because if we put it on our list, we gotta get somebody else to put it on their list.
Right, right,
Otherwise.
right.
Because I know, like, looking at some of these short-term goals, let's say like providing a uniform street landscaping scheme along all major roadways throughout the community. Like, that's something where, like, the planning commission, let's say, you would have a situation where the village council would then ask the planning commission to do this project or this task. And then typically, like, a budget might be assigned to the project or something like that, because to get a uniform landscaping scheme, you're gonna most likely need a plan or some standards that are developed, so you're gonna need to hire someone to do that type of plan or study or something like that. So it's like a director from the council or something like that, and then you go from there and have this like thing that you guys would kind of be project managers on, and then you'd have somebody working for you guys to kind of put that together, then you would get it and then recommend it to the council for adoption.
Okay.
So that'd be an example of one where it's just like, that's something that would be ideal. Is it a short-term thing? I don't know, is it realistic? But is it, if it is, we can keep it a short-term thing, or if there's no desire for it, you mix it, or you make it like something that's more of a longer-term thing or ongoing, where it's a continuous conversation about things that we can potentially do. That's one example of how some of these things work, because if it does say planning commission on it, sometimes it might just be something that you guys are going to be tasked with, like managing, or at least giving the recommendation for it. Not to say that you're going to be doing it hands-on.
And I think to say, like,
There's a lot.
being there, like, when this was created, is, the direction was dream big, and, you know, not necessarily practically. And, you know, it was more of a wish list versus, you know, it was, a lot of stuff was taken from other communities as far as putting it together. You know, that's just a little, that's how it got here. And it was a little different than, I think, on planning as well, because, I mean, while we were told to dream big, some people dream really big. So,
Yeah,
It
and I
was.
think that's also too, like, you guys definitely still can dream big in this type of a plan. But I think that's where we need to get a little more specific in terms of how we categorize them in terms of the time frame. Because that's where like, the short term will be more, like you said, your realistic things, your attainable things. Your dream big would be the long term. And that's where maybe you just shift those timeframes a little bit so you have a more realistic timeframe around.
right. And to be honest, I don't think we, as a planning commission, determined what was short term and long term. I think it was just sort of in,
I went down it, yeah.
yeah, we didn't have any say on. I mean, we probably could have had say on, I'm sure nobody would have argued with us, but it was just determined by planning at the time to what's practical, where to put it.
I know a lot of times like how these plans get put together from whether it's the county side or when I was in private planning and everything else, a lot of times these matrices get put together and things are assigned and timeframes are put together, then we kind of present them, planning commission gives them a thumbs up, and then you just kind of go and it gets adopted. It's not something that's really truly hashed out a lot of times.
Put in a drawer and
Right.
So, and I think that's something where, like, I think new trends are we want to truly hammer down these things because we want this to be an actual document that can be used and has attainable goals and it can
I
actually
think,
be
yeah,
acted.
going back to what Tracy had said, just looking at the one of paving Roselle roads, nobody's gonna touch that until the utilities get ran down there, so is that really?
Well, only half of
Well,
it's
and
ours.
that's only half of it is
And
ours.
only half is
I know,
ours.
right.
So,
But, I mean, it's right, it's worth $1.
right, right.
Well, at the
But
end
it's
of
a
the day too, though,
long term, right?
Oh, yeah.
Regardless.
Yeah, the other half is.
You know, whether there's a
Is it-
short or
Is
a
it really an
long.
attainable goal?
It's not, right, attainable, right.
because at the end of the
You
day,
can't leave it out though, it has to be done eventually.
I understand that, but at the end of the day, a lot of
half the lane.
people came
Basically.
together
The middle.
and worked on this and put a lot of time and sincerity into it. And after that happened, it got put in a drawer.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Except I did find a few things that we did too. One of them was to get a sign create attractive gateway with an entrance sign, so that was check.
Check.
And
Bike racks.
a bike rack. Found number 2.
There's a lot of farms too.
We need a bike rack, yeah.
Please.
We could go
With corresponding board about.
Yeah, we did establish a board.
Right.
Where
So
there's
you know what I'm
bike-
saying? Like, you want your community to buy in, you want them to support us. We want
Right.
to support them. We ask everybody to come together and put this together, and no one did anything with it outside of this.
So, and you're the best person to toot that horn, right, Rob? How much time have you put into projects for this community that never came to fruition?
Too many.
Too many, so I would like, that's my personal thought.
Yeah,
Right. I'd like to see it smaller and obtainable, and
Maybe that should be part of our, we talked about that list that you're gonna update every 6 months. Maybe we should be looking at this list, should be part of our agenda every 6 months to go through the list, follow up on letters sent 6 months ago to engage people. Has there been any follow through to obtain any of these
Well,
goals?
and some of those, I mean,
Make that part of our job instead of
right.
some of
Waiting
these,
for things to come to us.
I shouldn't say people.
coming here and doing that.
People might actually
Yes.
say what's on here, on their comments, on the survey, so people might actually say.
Right.
Some of these might actually show up, I mean, not saying that we're gonna put them in, but somebody might actually bring them up, and
And that is where, I will say that too, that when we did this last time, I do recall that some of these were simply from community input. So they were just thrown in there, practical or not, like, I can't recall which ones, but,
Right.
paving Roselle, maybe that was a community, I can't recall who did it or who said it and how it got there. Because it's not, because it's
down
not,
into small groups a
Yeah.
lot by departments and,
right,
or topics. It's a better, and, this group of people worked on the park things, and this
Right.
group worked on this stuff. Right.
yeah, because it's not practical. But maybe it's there because someone put it on their personal wish list too.
I think part of what we were talking about, like making sure that we tooted the horn, that we, let's say, did the Gateway project or something like that. That's something we can include in the open house, where, hey, what do you guys think about the new Gateway? Like, do you guys like it? Do you guys use it? Do you want more projects like that?
Yeah.
That's some feedback that we can kind of get from that type of forum.
where is the
I don't
bike
use
rack?
bike.
Where is the bike rack?
There's one at Fountain Park and
Oh, yeah,
there's
yeah.
one at Haven Place Park. And I believe there's also racks over at Haven Ridge. But those have been there.
Okay, I remember the one at Palm Park.
They put 2 in, yeah. Right? Were you there? No? It's Haven. I don't remember.
I just see a lot, I mean, in the summertime, I'm always out there. I ride my bike all the time in the morning in the summer, and you see,
I believe the one at the Fountain Park is over by the post office area.
okay, yeah, I think you're right.
And I don't know, I believe the Haven Place one is like the corner close to Maine, the
Okay.
east corner close to Maine. But you right there?
I probably rode past it a billion times and never really paid attention, because I always am out riding my bike, and I notice, like, in the summertime, not just with the slow roll, but there's a lot of people riding their bikes around here, a lot.
So what we can potentially do too is, with this whole document right here, get your feedback down, go through it. At the next meeting, we can potentially discuss it, and then we can kind of see where to go from there. If we need more discussion on it, and we can kind of take more time with this, we can kind of go from there and then figure that out a little more in depth at the April meeting.
I'm good with that.
And if you could just, you don't have to send them to John, so his email's not getting, pick your top 5 and send them to me and I'll make out something as to what everybody feels are their priorities and sort of rate them. And we can do that too. Anybody, anything?
This is enough right here.
All right. Do you have anything else?
The only other thing I was going to say was, come the middle of this month, what I can do is I can put together a rough outline of what I'm thinking for the open house. that I can pass it along to you guys, so you kind of approve it before I do anything.
Okay.
And then we can kind of go from there, and I can tweak it if there's anything specific you want me to do with it.
This open house needs typical public hearing postings, newspaper, all that sort of stuff, okay?
You know, just like a notice, it just says, hey, we're gonna have an open house, we can have it posted out here in the village office building window.
Does it need to go on the paper?
Let me confirm that.
Okay,
It needs to be a minimum on your website,
okay,
and then I'll just confirm it needs to be in the newspaper,
okay,
so.
Probably wouldn't hurt for it to appear on Facebook,
yeah.
on the whole community sites.
Okay. Planners report, I assume you're good? Anything else? Public comments on non-agenda items?
Guys are doing great.
Call from the, call from the table? Motion to adjourn.
Motion. So moved.
Support. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried, 7:52.